Hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have half an hour to show you some super quick recipes with the thermomix. These are some of our standard demo recipes that we do. Risotto is a perennial favourite with thermomix owners and customers and with advisors like myself that demonstrate them. It is so easy to make a restaurant quality faultless risotto in a thermomix, and I'm looking forward to showing you how it works. Alongside that, I'm going to be doing some bread. Hi Lisa, and what else have I got for you? And some butter. Yes, I was going to make some butter as well. So crammed into the space of half an hour. I've got the clock going behind me so I can keep an eye on the time. This is the amazing thermomix. You'll notice I've got 3 of them. Now you don't need to buy 3 of them at all. I just have 3 because I demonstrate and I chop and change between machines. It means I can just show you just more of the functions and the versatility in a short window of time. So without further ado, I like to normally introduce myself properly, but I'm going to get cooking straight away, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about myself, how I got interested in thermomix, and why I started it as a business as I'm going along. So I'm going to put my recipe onto the screen. If you can see, I've loaded my recipe. This is one of our guided recipes. All I need to do is press start cooking, and it's going to walk me step by step through that recipe, weighing and then doing all the processes that is required to pull together this dish for you. So you can just simply walk away and do something else. So it's asking me, the first thing it's asking me for is 40 grams of Parmesan cheese. Now, all I need to do, hi Helen, yay, you're online, you can see me, brilliant. I wasn't sure that it was gonna work. All I need to do, I'm just gonna remove this simmering basket that's inside it because I don't need that, is weigh my Parmesan straight in. I've just cubed it up. This is one of the features I love about it because actually you don't need to buy the grated Parmesan anymore. When you see how quickly it does it, you'll be amazed. So click on next, and then it literally tells me to put the lid on. So it just walks you step by step through the instruction. Insert the measuring cup. Now, I do apologise, this is going to make a very loud noise, and while it does that, I'm going to go off and get a bowl. So I'm going to turn it to speed 9, it's going to grate it. Okay, 2 seconds to go. Right, that's done it. So I could grate an entire pack of Parmesan in this machine in just 10 seconds. And as you can see, here we go. Here's my grated Parmesan. It would take you an awful lot longer than that, wouldn't it, to do it by hand? So I'm going to decant it into a bowl. The recipe will tell me that. I've just got ahead of myself because I've done this a few times before, as you can imagine. Okay. So it's told me that step is done. And then I'm going to press next. It's told me to transfer to a bowl and set it aside. So actually, it just makes it super easy following it step by step. Now, I'm going to skip through a couple of these next instructions because what it wants me to do is use the Thermomix to steam some pumpkin. Now, I've done this earlier. This is actually butternut squash. You'll tell that by the skin. But I roasted it. Just to speed things up a little bit. So again, it just shows you can skip through steps, you can ignore them, you can repeat them as necessary. I'm just going to ignore this particular step, so I'm going to go straight on to making the risotto. So it's telling me to weigh in 30 grams of onion or shallot. So let me just get that here. So here's my shallot. All I've done is peeled it and just cut it in half. And the machine will tell me when I've got to 30 grams. So a little bit more. I'm also going to put a little bit of garlic in. The recipe doesn't call for that, but I do like to put a little bit of garlic in my risottos. Click on next. Now it's asked me to put the lid on again. Click on next. And I'm going to chop it for 5 seconds at speed 5. So it's going to chop up that onion and garlic for me. In just 5 seconds. Okay. So quicker than any standard food processor and an awful lot quicker than doing it with a knife and a chopping board yourself. Click on next. So it tells me to scrape down the sides now. So you can see this instruction on the screen here, scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl. So that's what I'm about to do. So you can see it's all finely chopped, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to scrape down those sides just like this. Click on next and then add some bacon cut into little pieces. So I'm going to weigh that bacon in. You could use chorizo here, Or if you wanted just to make it vegetarian, you could miss it out completely. So I'm going to add a little bit of bacon and then 40 grams of butter. Now I was going to make some butter. I wasn't expecting the butter. I'll tell you what I'm going to put in. I'm just going to add in some olive oil instead. So let's just put in some olive oil. There we are. Weighing again, I'm just weighing it straight in using those inbuilt scales. Click on next and then put the lid on. Click on next. So really it's so easy that children can use it, and it's great to get kids inspired in the kitchen in this way. Or if you're particularly busy one day, what I tend to do is just get my ingredients out, pick a recipe, and one of my children will just work their way through it. So now let me just show you this on the front of the screen. I've got the machine is now cooking for me. So all our recipes are laid out in this particular format. You've got time, temperature and speed. And so this particular step is sautéing the recipe. It's telling me what it's doing on the screen. The timer is on and it's counting down. I'm just going to tap my other screens so they don't shut down. And I can just now leave that to sauté away for 5 minutes. So what it does mean is that you don't have to stand there with a pot and a pan and a spatula stirring it and keeping an eye on it so it doesn't burn. It means you can just go on and do something else. So while we're doing that, I'm going to get some bread on actually. So let's get some bread on in here. So I was going to do a farmhouse loaf, but I've decided I'm actually just going to do some rolls. So I'm just going to put my scales on and weigh in some milk and some water. And then I'm going to use the thermomix to bring that up to my body temperature at 40 degrees. So that's to optimise the yeast fermentation. So let's put in, I'm going to weigh in about half milk and half water. Now this is one of my own recipes, and it just shows you how you can use the Thermomix in a sort of a manual mode rather than just following a guided recipe on the screen. So let's just weigh that into 265 grams or so. I've just gone slightly over that, fine. And then some butter. Now, do I have any butter in this? I was going to make some. I should have made the butter first, actually. Right, let's pop in some butter. Now, so I'm going to add in about 35 grams of butter. Now, this recipe is available on my customer group. I share a lot of my own recipes with my customers, and it's had some really great feedback. So, a little bit more butter. It's a shame because I was hoping to use my own butter because I've got some cream out ready to make butter. Okay, so the butter goes in, and then a little bit of sugar. So I just want to put about a tablespoon of sugar, and you don't have to. You can omit this step entirely. I just think it improves with the flavour. So these are more like a brioche roll. So then I'm going to come out of there and put about 2 minutes on the clock, bring that up to 40 degrees and just using a slow speed. So that is stirring away. Right, while that's doing that, I am going to come over to this machine here. So you can see why I've got 3 machines. Most people obviously only buy one, although I can't be held responsible if very quickly you come to depend on it so much and find you want a second one. So here we go. I'm going to load my butter recipe onto the screen. So I just need to go to my week. So that's one of the great things that you can do with these machines is you can make a weekly planner so you can set out exactly what you want to cook. From that you can create an ingredient shopping list, so that's a shopping list of ingredients, and then you can sync that with your online shopping provider and compare prices against the store, and then pay for it and get it all delivered to your door. So I'm going to just put on butter. The recipe's loading. You'll notice this is a slightly older model of machine, but it's my spare demo model. And what it will tell me first of all is to put the butterfly whisk in. So I've got that here. So all of these attachments come with the machine. We've got a simmering basket which sits inside it. You can steam rice and vegetables in there. We've got a large steaming unit as well that sits on top of it. So this is our aroma attachment, and that would sit on top of it like that. Obviously you need to put the lid on, and in that you can steam all sorts of things, chicken, fish. You can even steam whole chickens in about 55 minutes. over water, and then you get the beautiful chicken stock as well that you can use in either gravies or soups. So let's put that out of the way. So I'm going to pop my whisk in, give it a little twist, click on next, and then put in 500 grams of double cream. So this is just double cream that I bought to room temperature. If you try and do this with really cold cream, it often won't work. So let's hope that it's had enough time out of the fridge. So that's a little tip for you. If you're whisking cream, in order to stop it turning into butter, but I might just use the whole lot actually. I'm going to put in 600 grams. You want to ensure when you're whisking it that it's really, really cold, and then it's very difficult to turn it into butter. Okay, so that's told me that's finished. It's going to beep at me. So I'm just going to click on next, and then it's told me to put the lid on already. Click on next, and 3.5. So let me just show you that on the screen. So it's just whipping away. So the butterfly whisk is in there. It's programmed for a minute. I can hear it's gone to cream already because I can hear the change in the texture, and the speed 3.5. So if you want double cream, you'll be able to whip if you want whisk cream rather, you'll be able to whip that in about 10 seconds using one of these machines. Okay, so I've got 2 things beeping at me now. What I'm going to do first is just continue with the risotto stage. So click on next. Now what's need to add on? You can see the steam coming out of there, so it's cooked. One of the great things is that this will temperature control your cooking process, so your onions and garlic and whatever you're sauteing will not be over or under. They will just be perfectly cooked at about 120 degrees, bringing out their natural sweetness. Right, so I'm going to pop in 320 grams of arborio rice. Hi Debbie, I'm glad you're here. Right, so we're just making the pumpkin and bacon risotto now. All it's done, Debbie, is just sauteed the garlic, the onion and the bacon together as the base of the risotto. And now I'm about to weigh in my risotto rice. So you can see on the front of the screen, I've got in my inbuilt scales. I'm just going to weigh directly into that. Let's just pop that down like that. I'm going to weigh directly in. It's going to tell me when I'm there. And this feature is an absolute godsend, I have to say, having these inbuilt scales. So let's just pop in 320 grams of rice. I'm going to click on next. It's walking. This is one of our guided recipes, so it's going to walk us step by step. Now it's asked me to put this simmering basket on the lid. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow the steam to escape. So these machines are really versatile. They're designed to be almost like a complete kitchen in one. So ideal if you're having your kitchen done up, or if you've just moved house and haven't unpacked anything. These are an ideal thing to have in your kitchen because you can produce restaurant quality food just from this. So place the simmering basket. Oh, Kim, hi Kim, thanks for copying on. Place the simmering basket instead of the measuring cup onto the mixing bowl lid. And of course, Kim, you could cook along with your thermomix as well if you wanted to. Right, let's just turn that to speed 1, and it's now going to saute. So can you see my time, temperature and speed are all onto preset settings, and the time is 3 minutes. It's gone to Varoma temperature, which is a high temperature, but just over 120 degrees, and it's just gently stirring that for me. So while that's doing that, I'm going to have a little peek at my butter. Yes, I've got butter. Let's just bring you over here. So we've done this in 1 minute. There you go. So I've whipped some double cream, and it's split out into the butter and the buttermilk, both of which I might be able to use. If we've got time, I might be able to do some very quick scones. But to start with, I'm just going to make or continue with the bread roll recipe. So I've melted my butter and and brought my milk and my water up to body temperature. I'm now just going to continue with the recipe, adding in some bread flour. So I'm going to weigh that directly in. So these rolls you can actually have on the table within about an hour and a quarter from starting this process. So really easy. So I'm just going to weigh in about 500 grams of bread flour. And it's weighing it for me. So just keep an eye on that. 400. I've got 15 minutes has gone. There we are. So 500 grams of my bread flour. Then I'm going to put in about 10 grams of salt. So this is one of my own recipes. which is available on my customer group, and I do come up with a lot of recipes and share them with my customers. And then I'm going to put in about 10 grams of yeast as well. So let me just go and get my yeast. It's actually just tipped out on the side behind me whilst I was grabbing the onions. So hopefully, there we go. So let's put that back to 0 and tip in, just want about 10 grams of yeast has gone in here. But there are plenty of guided recipes for rolls on here. It's just I prefer to do this one. And then I'm going to crack my egg in. These are slightly an enriched dough, almost like a brioche dough actually, but they're beautiful with burgers and really nice and packed lunches as well. So you've seen how easy that is to do. And then what I'm going to do is just activate my dough mode. So if I come across here, show you all the different modes we've got. You can use it as weighing scales. Even when it's cooking, you can actually still weigh on it. I've got a dough mode, it cleans itself, it's a blender. You can boil eggs perfectly, dictating the egg yolk consistency that you want from soft to hard boiled. You can use it as a kettle, you can warm up food in it, you can thicken sauces in here, so you can make gravies and hollandaises really easily, bechamels. It's a rice cooker, you can ferment yogurt, you can use it as a slow cooker, and you can use it to sous vide as well. But today we're just going to use it to make some dough. So I'm going to just let it do its thing, put 3 minutes on that timer, and it's just going to knead away for me for 3 minutes. Now, my risotto has pinged at me, so let's just come back. Oh, it smells amazing. It's that bacon and the onions really sauteing away with the rice. So that's sauteed the rice and begun the cooking process. So all I'm going to do is click next, and it's asking me to add some white wine. So in goes the wine. And if it wasn't lunchtime, I'd have a little swig out the bottle. There you go. Actually, I should be being good. I'm going to try and do sort of a dry November in the run-up to Christmas. Right, now it wants me to put that simmering basket directly on the top again. So it's going to just reduce and cook out that wine. And again, it's stirring it for you. Let me bring you over the top so I can show you what's happening. There you go, you can see it just stirring itself away, and it's just going to cook out the wine before we add in some stock. So I'm just going to go and get that stock. I'm going to use some boiling water just out of my boiling water tap next to me. All my kids already have said, oh, I don't like butternut squash or pumpkin. So Kim, I wish you were coming over for lunch actually, because you could help me eat it. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Now, with this butter, you'll notice I made this butter, and I was hoping to make a few scones actually. So you can see it's split out into butter and, well, the curds and the whey. So the butter is the curds and the whey is the buttermilk liquid. Now, you don't want to waste that liquid. It's not buttermilk in the true sense, but it's like a double cream, a full buttermilk actually. So you drain it off and use it. So as you can see, all I'm going to do is just tip it out. Let me just raise it up a bit. Tip it out into my bowl. There's a little bit there that's not coming out. Let's grab that and let it drain down. Okay. So there we are. Let's put that to drain. So I'm going to just drain that into a bowl. Here's my butter in there. So in here I've got about 350 grams of pure butter. I can add salt to that, I can add chopped herbs, I can add garlic to it, I can add parsley to it, I can freeze it. It's cheaper to make butter this way than it is to buy blocks of it. It works out at about 2/3 of the price, and you also get the buttermilk, which you can then use in baking afterwards. So let's just leave that to drain to one side, and I'll show you what I do with it. I want to go back to my risotto and get on with that. So now it's asking me to add 720 grams of just water. So the water is going in, straight in. I'm weighing it on the scales. Oh, just gone slightly over, never mind. And I think it's going to ask me, and I can tell you a little bit about this. Yes, a tablespoon of this vegetable stock paste. Now this is something I make routinely with a thermomix. You can make your own vegetable and meat stock paste. It's a lot cheaper than buying them. You know exactly what's in it. It's not full of ingredients. It's fantastic for ingredients that shouldn't be there, rather, like all the sort of chemical stabilizers or indeed yeast and gluten. And it's really good for people following a gluten-free diet. It's really, really cheap. And this is one of the ways that you can save money with your thermomix, making your own stocks. This will last me, and I do a lot of cooking, a good 4 to 5 months actually, and it's just made with leftover vegetables and salt. And it is beautiful. It really enhances the flavour of the dishes. So it's asking me to scrape the bottom of the bowl with the spatula, just to loosen that rice. So that will be scraped. And then put that simmering basket back on the top, and then it's going to cook away for 8 minutes, okay? And then at that point, I think we'll add the butternut squash and just cook it for a little bit longer. So I won't have time to show you the finished result during this live, but what I will do is post some pictures later on the main Facebook group so you can see everything that we've cooked. Okay, so here's my beautiful dough. So I've got some dough here ready to shape into balls. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to take you back over here, and you can see behind my thermomix. This is a bit like behind the scenes. And I'm going to empty this out now onto my work surface. And then show you what I do to make them into rolls. Now I'm not going to make all of them. I'm just going to make a couple up so you can see the general process, and then I will finish it off and post pictures later. So I'm just going to take my blades out of there. So you'll notice straight away that the blades and the bowl come apart, which makes it really easy to clean and get food out of it. So I'm just going to cut off a small amount. You want to weigh sort of 85, 90 gram portions, and then I'm just going to roll it. Now, can you see that? I'm just going to roll it straight away onto the work surface and put it down. Oops, nearly lost you there. Put it onto my prepared baking tray. There's one. Let's do another while you're there. So I'll just do another. Usually I weigh these so that they're in nice portions. It's sticky dough, which is exactly what you want. It takes a little sort of practice to get used to it. If you find it too sticky, you can put a little bit of olive oil on your hands, but not necessary really. Pop it down. Now what I will do is this will make about 10 rolls. I'll cover them with greased cling film. I'll let them rise for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then I'll bake them straight away. And they'll take between 12 and 15 minutes in the oven. But I'll post the pictures later on. So what I want to do as a final step now is to show you using this butter. Now what I would like to have done with this butter, but I don't have time for it, is, well, let's give it a quick rinse, is that you really need to rinse it out under cold water to get rid. Can you see all this buttermilk that's coming out of it? You can see it all draining down. You really need to rinse this under very cold water once you've made it to get rid of all that buttermilk. Now I'm not going to have time for that because I've just seen the time. So what I will do is I'm just going to make a very quick batch of scones using that butter, so you can see again something else that a thermomix allows you to do. So let's come out of my butter recipe, which is not going to like because I've now got wet hands. So quit on that. I just want to put my scales on, and all I'm going to do is weigh my ingredients directly into scones. So I'm going to just half my standard recipe because actually my children are quite fussy, even with one of these. And you'd think lovely fresh scones and a beautiful pumpkin and bacon risotto for lunch. I'll end up giving this to my neighbours. I have to say my neighbours do like me because I often go round with things that I've made that I play with. Right, so that's my 260 grams of flour. That was self-raising flour that's gone in there. So I want about 40 grams of butter. So I'm just going to put in my fresh butter that I've made, 30, 35, 40 straight away. Now I could use in here the buttermilk as well. In fact, I might as well do that from what we've just used as the fluid. So I would either use buttermilk or just a regular milk, and I want about 150 grams of it. But I may as well just use this. Let's put 150 grams in. There we go, perfect. 150 grams in. I want about a tablespoon of sugar. So let's reset my scales and go for 15 grams. That'll do. And then I'm going to chuck in as well a handful of sultanas, because I want these as fruit scones. So I'm just going to put a good sort of handful of sultanas in there. I need to find my lid. It's amazing how things start disappearing in the kitchen. And then all I'm going to do is put 15 seconds on here and speed 5. And it's going to mix all of those ingredients together. Just show you what's happening there. Making up my scone dough. Now it might be a little bit wet, so if it is, I'll add a little bit more flour. Although you do want the scone dough to be really quite wet when you're making it, because that makes them rise and makes them a lot better. Oh no, it's not stupid. It's not stupid. So we'll go with that. You can see it's mixed it all together in about 15 seconds. Now I've got my dough, my main dough here. So I'll just move that out of the way. So that was my dough, and then I will just get a little bit of flour on my work surface. And again, I'll show you what I do with these the scone dough. This is coming out. Let's just pop it out like that. I will do the rest of it later, and I will show you how they turn out. But I'm not going to take all of that out. I've just got a little bit out, and I'll get my little cutter here. So I want them reasonably thick, these scones, because that's when they rise up beautifully. I'm going to get my cutter and just cut out one scone. There it goes. Shall I bring my Tupperware to coffee tomorrow, Lynn? Absolutely. I should have done this before tomorrow, shouldn't I? And put my scone on there. So this will make about sort of 5 or 6 scones. I will brush them with a little bit of the remaining milk, and then I will just bake them again in a very hot oven at about 200 degrees for about 15 minutes. So that is scones. I mean, how easy is that to do? If you've got people coming over and really want to impress them, you can whip up a batch of scones when they're there right in front of you. And that's what the Thermomix is all about, really. It's about making food really quick and really accessible to people. It's ideal for people who don't know what they're doing in a kitchen, because you can just follow the step-by-step instructions and come out with a guaranteed restaurant quality result. It's also ideal for professional chefs. They'll use this in a different way. Every Michelin-starred restaurant in the UK has Thermomixes in its kitchen, because they are unparalleled in terms of their performance and technical ability, and for helping chefs do things like purees and silky smooth soups, and kneading dough really quickly and making the most amazing pastries. So there's lots of different reasons why people buy Thermomixes. Now, I've got 1 minute left on this risotto, and sadly I can see it's 12:29, so I've almost run out of time here. But let me just have a look. I'm going to go and have a look at the final steps and see if I can just push it 1 minute more. I've got to add the pumpkin on. So once that has come to the end of this final minute, all I'm going to do is add in the roasted pumpkin and cook it for another 5 minutes. And then my risotto will be ready to serve with the grated parmesan. So I will stir in this grated parmesan that we did at the start. That was done in 10 seconds. So I'll stir the grated parmesan in and then serve it immediately to children who don't want to eat it. But Lynn and Kim, if you would like to come for lunch today, you would be very, very welcome. There is a whole load of goodies ready to be eaten here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It's just about 12:30, so I'm going to drop off now, because obviously there's going to be somebody else coming on live. Let's just show you very quickly though, because it's finished. So far we've got this happening with the risotto. If I can give it a little stir with a spatula, I will. There we are. So by the time I've added in the pumpkin and cooked it for another 5 minutes, that rice will have absorbed all the rest of the stock, and then we'll just thicken it and enrich it with some Parmesan at the end. So that is my super fast pumpkin risotto. I've made butter, I've made bread rolls, and I will make scones and finish them off. And we've done that live in about 30 minutes. Oh, Kim, I'd love to have seen you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for watching. Really pleased that you spent the time to watch. And if you've got any questions, please do just give me a shout. I'd love to show you a little bit more about what the Thermomix can do. Thank you.